Apologies for the late start to the stream. There was a bit of a delay on my side. Let's quickly get all the data that we need. As we see Nivi, just as we start the stream, about to cross the line as he goes P3. Nivi jumping up, a great start to the stream to have someone jump up that high. Just quickly, whilst we are busy with the start of the stream, I just quickly want to get the stream link onto Discord, and we can get the people involved and hopefully get some interaction with everyone. As we see Chris starting a lap going through turn 2, going up to turn 3, you want to get it down into third gear, get the rotation, maybe go up into fourth, then you want to be flat out through this next right-hander of turn 5. Now going up towards turn 6. Is he going to use 6? Oh no, he's going to use 5th. He's going down 1 gear more. Car looking very stable as Chris is now basically sector 2 is a straight line. So it all depends on who's running the least amount of wings during this. He's 4/10 up basically on his time. That would currently put him around P5 at the moment, as he's going to enter the final sector with a car in front of him, the Williams, now going to the third to last corner, 6th gear, down into second. Now you want to be gentle on throttle out of the final corner. He gets on throttle nicely and he runs down to the line. Where would it put him? And he goes into P7. So he lost some time, and he's actually got the same time as Will. As we see Abmo finishing his lap, going into the penultimate corner, 3rd gear, just reluctant to turn that car. 4th gear, 5th gear, DRS open. Let's see what it's going to be. Where's this going to put him? And he goes into pole position. Abmo with a great end to his lap. Will that stick? Will he be able to keep pole position throughout qualifying? As we see, Boomer did invalidate his lap. Luke ending his lap in the Haas. Where's Luke going to be? Luke goes into 2nd place. Great. It's been, well, a great start to this race as well. After a great race in Austria, finishing in P5 or P4, I believe. As we see Tichy with the start of his lap coming to the end of the first sector, 200s up as he goes through turn 6. Now the straight line run down to the end of sector 2, going for it. Let's see what time he can gain. As he's currently a 10th.5 up, that will put him 1 place higher, just in front of Oswaldo. Those two did have a great race with each other in Austria last time out. Can Tichy improve in the final sector? 5th gear, 6th gear, down into 5th again. Gets the rotation on that car, down into 3rd. Can he get better rotation than the other guys? He's actually not got the rotation. He went a bit wide into the penultimate corner. Great traction out of the final corner. Where will this put him? And he goes into P6. So he must have lost a lot of time in his previous lap around the final sector. 4/10 up from Boomer. And he is on the medium tires. This can be a mega lap from Boomer on the medium tires. As he's 5/10 up, and he just needs to keep it on the black stuff. And I think this could see him into the top 4. Now going into the final sector. Will he keep it in first? Now he uses 6th gear for this corner. Can he get the nose turned in? Oh, the nose is just struggling to turn in for Boomer in these final few corners. Also great traction out of the final corner. DRS open. Where will and he goes into 3rd place on the medium tires. What a lap from Boomer. So you see Oswaldo. He's actually charging his battery and coming towards the end of his lap. We see Nuf, he's also done with his lap. As we ride on board with the Mercedes, he invalidated his lap. Now we see Heinrich, my fellow South African, going for it as fast as he can. He's almost 4/10 up. Will there be a bigger improvement in the final sector? He needs a big improvement to be able to challenge that top 10. He needs to find that crucial time in this final sector. I believe he can do it, but it's one thing of saying something and another trying to actually get that time on the board. And Heinrich goes into P15. What a lap from the South African. I think he can still climb a few more places if he can get back into the pits and run it back again. As we see, it does look like Mighty will be the first guy that we will see go for his lap. He's got hot lap ERS on. Going into the first corner. Oh, and he really goes down for it on the gears. Really going low into the first corner on the gears in 3rd gear. Into the 3rd corner. Getting that nose turned in 2nd. And he backs out of his lap. As we ride on board with Mike. Mike not having a great start to the season after good qualifying. He would be very disappointed with what result he got in Austria. Into turn 3, getting that nose turned in, and that's a good turn 3 from Mike. And he's 4th gear into the 4th corner, and Mike just invalidates. Not what you want to see. As we ride on board again with Chris in the Alpine. So we see him come towards the end of the first sector. He's almost a 10th slower and he invalidates his lap. Igor, I would love it if the grid could freeze as it is. You really need, you deserve to get a good start again after the penalty you had last race. I would like to see you fight for that podium position again. So we try to see who is on a lap, as Chris didn't validate. Who will be the first to start their lap? Will it be, as we look on board with Marco, I believe he will be the first guy to start a flying lap. Marco wants to improve after a lackluster Austria being nowhere on pace. Let's see what the Ferrari can do. Great first corner, going into turn 3, down into 3rd gear, and he goes down into first. Might have been a lag spike. I don't know what happened. Do you want to be flat out through this right-hander? And he's not flat out. So we have to look elsewhere for someone on a lap. Let's ride on board with Tichy. Is Tichy on a fast lap? Yes, he is. He's pushing. And he's a 10.5 up in the first sector. Is he going to get a slipstream from the car in front? That would help him a lot if he can get slipstream from that Mercedes. as it's just a run down to the end of sector 2, and he's a tenth and a half up through the second sector. That will put him around P5. It will take him above Igor. Igor slipping down as the people are finding grip. Now, 6th gear down into 5th. Penultimate corner down into 3rd. Can he get the nose turned in? It's a great bit of oversteer. Where will this place Tichy in the Aston Martin? As we see Mike going to P4. What a lap from Mike! As Tichy doesn't improve. Who else is on a lap? As we see Sven. Sven goes... Oh, and Sven invalidates. Mike is still P4. Boomer invalidated. Look, coming into the final sector. Where will this put the Haas driver? He will be able to fight for pole position. Can he do it? The nose is very sharp into that penultimate corner, and he gets a good drive out of the final corner. Can he take pole position? Can the Haas driver take it? And he takes pole position with the 1:18.0. Abmo in the Williams, he's slower. He's not going quick enough. He needs to find time in the final sector. Will he be able to find it with the Mercedes in front of him? Is the Mercedes going to block him? It does look like it, and the Mercedes blocked him. That will definitely go to the stewards, I believe. That was a definite block, as we see Nivi and the Ferrari coming into the final 2 corners as well. Nivi had some great pace in Austria, as the nose is very sharp. Where will the Ferrari be? Where will Nivi place himself? As we see the other Haas in the top 5, and Nivi goes into P2. What a lap from the Ferrari. You see Niv, I think he might have run out of fuel. And that's basically qualifying. Wicked Profit not going to make an improvement with his ERS being out. What a qualifying session. I might have been late to it, but what a qualifying session. The 2 McLarens really surprised me. But my gosh, Luke, well done on that lap. Well done. I'm really surprised with what the Haas drivers have been able to do so far in the first 2 rounds. Now, looking at our grid, we've got Luke, we've got Nivi, then Abmo, Twanich, Boomer, Mike, Sven the man, Igor dropping all the way down to P8. 9th is Oswaldo. Tichy right behind Oswaldo. This might be a good fight again. Then they might continue as they left off in Austria. Will in 11th. 12th is Nuf. O'Leary really might be disappointed with what he did in qualifying. Only in 13th, as I believe we saw Chris in P14. Now looking at the grid for the final time, it's Luke, Nivi, Abmo, Twanich, Boomer, Mike with a great lap in P6, Sven, Igor, Oswaldo and Tichy like glue again. And Tichy and Will had the same lap time again as they did early in qualifying as well. Then Nuf, O'Leary, Chris, Wicked Profit, Marco, Mighty Chump, Smith, Wellesley, and Arctic rounding off the grid. This is going to be a fun race. This is going to be a mega race. As we can see, all the way from we can basically say P5 all the way to P12 with less than a second between them. I think this is going to be a great race. To anyone that's racing, that might be watching, what's the conditions going to be like in the race? As we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. As Luke got a great start and Dranich also getting a great start in the Haas, going up into P2. And it's a 1-2 for the Haas at the moment with the Williams fighting back of Abmo. As these two, as Dranich has gotten the position over the Williams. As we see Arctic drop at the back. Arctic getting disqualified. Abmo, he has to defend from Mike. As Mike also got a great start all the way up from P6. Boomer right behind Mike. Will Mike fight for position or will he let Boomer pass? It does look like McLaren is giving Boomer the better chance to fight in this race. As we look further back into the field, as we see Sven and Tichy go. Sorry. Yeah, Sven and Tichy going side by side into the fourth chicane. As we see Marco making a move on Tichy and he gets past Tichy. It did look really close. As we see the Williams of Heinrich spinning, and he definitely has front wing damage on that Williams. Sven at the back of this group, led by Igor. As we see the Alfa Romeo of Will going for it on. As Abmo's out. Abmo's out of the race. Oswaldo now having to fight for it. It's a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car. The two McLarens and the Haas cars are in the perfect position to fight for it the whole race. They've got a big gap to the Alfa Romeo. Then Nivi having a poor start in the Ferrari. Nivi will not be happy with that start. Oswaldo, then Sven. This is going to be a close fight. As we see O'Leary into the points already. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. O'Leary, he might not be the best qualifier, but he's very consistent. He does take the points. He's very crucial for a team. As we see, I believe the virtual safety car will be ending soon. And Mike gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Mike is losing his P4. What a mistake from Mike. He will not be happy with that. That's going to drop him all the way down into P15. Mike will not be happy with the mistake he made, but it's self-inflicted, I believe, unless it's another glitch. As we see Nivi looking at the back of Will. Nivi still has a chance of a podium, but he needs to get past the Alfa Romeo, and he doesn't do it into turn 3. As we see Oswaldo and Sven going for it, and Sven gets past Oswaldo as Oswaldo goes wide. And Nivi will now look at the back of Will again, and I do believe they do have DRS as we go out of turn 6. He has a great run. I don't think will be able to defend this position against the Ferrari. Ferrari just going for it, and he has the position before the corner even starts. As we see, Mike might have spun as he caused a yellow flag. Looking at the front, we see Boomer all the way up front fighting the two Haas cars. The Haas drivers will definitely help each other. As we see Twanich losing the rear end. Boomer going for it. It's not the same as in Austria. The Haas drivers do have a dent. They have made a mistake. And Boomer just hands the position back to the Haas driver, waiting for that move to come along again. Sven looking at the back of Will. I was just looking at the back Marco going for it on the Ferrari and Alfa Romeo. It seems to be a reoccurring thing throughout the race. Ferrari versus Alfa Romeo. Will on the back of Nivi again. We see Mike pitting. I think he might try and get an undercut on the guys in front, but he's so far back, I don't believe it will work. We see Boomer. He's going to try and go for a move into turn 11 as he gets a good exit. DRS open, but he's just too slow on the straights. I think he might be running a lot more downforce than the harsh drivers in front. Will at the back of Nivi. Not getting a good run out of that corner. So we see Sven as Mike gets another 3-second penalty as Mike spun. Mike is out. That's a DNF for Mike. From a good qualifying position in P. As we see Boomer gets past the harsh driver. Now Boomer can go chase after Luke and try and get that win for the McLaren guys after a bad start for Mike. I think Mike has got so much potential this season. He just needs to convert that qualifying position in the races. So we see Niv and Chris going side by side. There was a bit of wheel banging. Getting very close. Now Mighty looking at the back of the Alpine driver. Will be a DRS strain again. We see Will get past Nivi again. I think Nivi might have made a mistake. Gonna ride on board with this battle a little longer as we see Chris and Luv going side by side in the fast chicane. So we see Mighty Chump taking the scraps of that fight as we see Niv will fight it back in the Alfa Romeos. They make contact and Niv just forces Mighty Chump wide, but he also loses the car himself and he loses another position. Just being impatient. See Wilt getting the fastest lap. Can he drag the guys behind him along with him? Will on that soft tires needs to make them work. He knows he has to pit a lot earlier than the guys around him. He's going to pit around lap 10. Get onto the hard tires or even the mediums if he can go to lap 12 on that soft tires. So you see Nivi getting a bit faster around the corners compared to Will with these hard tires, as I think the hards are taking over in terms of race pace. So you see Nivi get past Will. Now Sven is on the back of the Alfa Romeo. He needs to make a move if he's got any hope. As we see the harsh driver of Twanet also dropping behind Nivi again. He's losing the rear end every corner. He needs to get that sorted out. I think he might have to go lower on the front wings to help compensate for that lack of rear downforce. Boomer slowly catching. Look, as we see Igor getting past Wellesley. The Alpine driver not having a good start to this race. Now Will. And Will's out of the race! As I believe himself and Sven might have made contact. That might go to the stewards regarding on what happened. As we see Sven reversing too hard. I think he might have rear wing damage from that, as we have a full caused safety car. Wow. 7 laps in and chaos is really taking over in this race. Now let's quickly see what tires does everyone have. Let's first look at the position changes as we see Mighty Chump going up 8 places, and then Chris was 6, Marco was 6, O'Leary was 6 places. A lot of people jumping, but a lot of people losing out. Let's look at the tires. I believe Luke and Boomer will have to come in. Let's see what the leaders will do. They have to come in. The hard tires will last to the end as long as you nurture them. They have to come in. As we see Boomer staying out. I do believe this might be a mistake from Boomer. I know you want track position, but you want to be ahead of everyone. As we see, even Nivi coming in for the medium tires. He might be gambling on another safety car, same as Boomer. Oswaldo also staying out. A lot of drivers coming into the pits. Marco staying out. Mighty Chump staying out. I think they might hope for another safety car. We see the Ferrari of Marco running wide into turn 1. Oswaldo is going to be a sitting duck. Boomer is going to be a sitting duck. It's going to take that hard tires around half a lap to really get into a working window after the safety car is done. And Igor on the hard tires, and he pitted on lap 3. It does remind me, I will never forget, also the same driver, Igor on F1 2021 went from last place in the race after pitting on lap 3 as well on the onto the hard tires. He finished that race in the points. And can he repeat it again? Can he do another 26 lap stint on those tires? Can he force those tires to go to the end again? Can he nurture them? Can he repeat it once more? Can he repeat the brilliance? I believe he can. If there's one man that can do it, it is Igor. A lot of drivers that need to do some catching up to the safety car. We see Heinrich, Wicked Prophet, and Noof having to catch up. Well, what a start to the race. And if you think it's over, it's not over yet. I think there's still a lot of drama that's going to come in this race. So as we see, Mike had rear wing damage. He couldn't keep the car under control. You know how difficult it is to fight these cars with rear wing damage. It's like driving with 50-0 wings. It's near impossible. Now, Luke currently is in prime position to win this race. As long as he can keep his nose clean, this is a win for the Haas driver. Oswaldo still needs to pit, Boomer still needs to pit, and the two guys behind him also needs to pit. And they will most likely keep up Nivi and Twinich, who also might have to pit again because their tires won't hold it to the end. They will have to pit again. Tichy in P8, along with Oswaldo O'Leary. I believe they can be fighting for a net podium position here. As long as they can keep their noses clean, keep stuck behind each other, as we see Marco currently in the lead, as Boomer might have lost it. What happened? As Marco goes for it, Boomer, and he's leading Boomer. It's a great restart from them. Oswaldo's lagging behind a little bit as we see Mighty Jump go wide, and he loses all the positions that he was trying to keep on track. Now look, has to try and get past the Red Bull driver of Oswaldo. And we know Oswaldo is a difficult person to get by. He's a very clean racer. As we see, Buma did get past Marco. Oswaldo now needs to get past the Red Bull driver, past the Ferrari driver himself, as Marco is really lagging in this race. Looking at the back of Oswaldo. Oswaldo needs to make the move and get past that Ferrari so that he can keep up. We see Marco go off track. And Marco is losing a lot of positions, and it does look like he has damage. So we see, look, right at the back of Oswaldo. It's very surprising that they didn't make contact. Nivi and Twanich really need to get past Luke if they want to have any hopes of trying to get the maximum out of this race. What a drive from the Haas driver out of the final corner, and he will definitely take the position into turn 1. Can he make it stick? Are they going to go 3 wide? No, they're not. And we see, look, and Oswaldo, and they almost make contact as we see Nivi coming for it. Nivi backs out. Now we're going to open up the position for the other Haas driver as he forces the move on Nivi. Now look, can he get the move past Oswaldo? He's been struggling to make it for a whole lap. He can't take that long. He will get give Buma the chance to break away. As we see him really go wide, as we see the other Haas driver of Twanich getting past. Will he make the move on the Red Bull? This is a whole cluster of cars in one corner. They go side by side as Oswaldo didn't have a great run, and that is definitely what Twanich wanted. He wanted to force Oswaldo into a mistake, and Oswaldo makes the mistake as Oswaldo squeezes him into the apex as they make contact, not leaving each other any room. Oswaldo is going to keep the position. No, he's not. He loses the rear end, and he fights it into the penultimate corner. And now the other Haas car is also passed as Luke gets past, and Oswaldo can't keep the position. Now Nivi also getting past Oswaldo. Oswaldo was the cork in the bottle. Now they can finally chase after Buma. Now Mighty Chump coming up to the back of Oswaldo as we see Tichy getting past Mighty with a better drive out of turn 1. Those hard tyres are really going to take over. As we see a mistake from Mighty as he's into the wall. Oh, wait. He's not. Just looked like it. Now Nivi looking at the back of both Haas cars. These Haas drivers, I think Twanich will be using up his tyres to pull along Luke and get him closer to that victory. Tichy now up into 5th position. Tichy can really get a podium from this. So we see O'Leary actually dropped. He went into the pits again. He lost his podium position. Now this could definitely fall into the hands of Igor and Chris. Both of these drivers will have a chance at getting that final podium position if they can make the tyres last, which I do believe the Hards will be able to do. As we see the two Haas drivers catching Buma. It's about a second a lap that they're catching the McLaren. Buma isn't going to be able to hold the defense against these guys. I think he will be dropping back the same as Oswaldo did. We look back to Igor on the back of Oswaldo. So you see Twanich, that just cements the fact that he will not be able to challenge his teammate. If it wasn't the tires, it will definitely be the penalties. Igor fighting that car into turn 6. Getting some DRS as we see the Haas drivers making the switch. Now will Nivi make the move into turn 9 and 10? No, he doesn't make the move. He just sticks behind, but he will have DRS again. And Twanich won't have DRS. It's a double DRS zone. But he still has enough ERS to just fight it back. Now, can he keep the Ferrari at bay? Can he keep Nivi back for the time being? As we see Oswaldo and Igor went side by side, and I believe he might have forced Igor a little bit wide. As we see the Alpine drivers, Igor staying in front. Igor's going for it. As we see Oswaldo finally coming into the pits, he needs to change his tyres, and he will definitely go onto the hard tyres to the end, but that might be damaging to his race. He will come out just before Noof, I believe, or maybe just behind. So we see Igor and Chris fighting it out. There's no love lost between these two. They have had their fights previously in previous seasons. Now Nivi at the back of Twenic. These Haas cars are really trying to keep at bay this Ferrari whilst catching the McLaren. I think they want to make the move on the McLaren before the Ferrari makes a move on them. But Nivi is like, I'm going for it. Can Nivi make a move on the outside? No, he waits for it. Just sitting behind. Be calm and patient. It will come towards you. So you see Igor and Chris still running close to each other, just keeping up with this fight. Now look on the back. We see a 3-second penalty for Sven. Look on the back of Boomer. Boomer won't have any defense. I think Boomer might be stretching these tires to go onto the softs at the end. He needs to stretch this stint to at least lap 17 if he wants to make the soft tires last. So we see Luke now going for it. I think Luke might be going for a move into turn 3. Can he make a move on the outside? Boomer can just force him wide. Will Boomer force him wide? No, he won't. As they make contact. They slide contact as the other Haas driver's turnage also comes past. And now the Ferrari needs to get past this McLaren. Otherwise, he will be stuck. He will lose time towards the end of this lap if he doesn't get past that McLaren right now. Wicked Profit with the fastest lap of a 1:21.6. So we see Boomer actually going for a move on Twenic. Can he make the move? It's very close into this fast chicane. They're just filing through. Nivi almost losing the rear end as we see Twenic also losing the rear end. Not for the first time in this race. The McLaren, can he make a move on the outside? Can he do it? No, he just has to bide his time a little bit. Boomer's really fighting back. He's keeping up with the guys in front as long as he's got DRS. As we see a yellow flag with Welsie. A spin on the fast chicane out of turn 10. The fast chicane, a normal place to lose the car. As we see Oswaldo on those new hard tires, he might come back at Sven, Mighty, Igor, and Chris later on in this race. You see Boomer keeping up with the Haas drivers once again. He's really stretching those tires. I think Boomer will be going to lap 17 or lap 18 on these mediums. We see Welsie coming into the pits. Nivi right on the back of this McLaren. How much downforce does each car have on it? We see Nivi getting closer and closer. Will he make a move into turn 11? Coming up. As he's got the DRS open. The McLaren's got the DRS open. As we see the two Haas drivers fighting for it. Sorry, had to get a little cough out as my voice is really struggling to keep up with all the racing that's going on. Nivi, he's basically pushing Boomer through the corners. Nivi really wants to get released and fight the two Haas drivers. He's saying, I've got the pace. If I can get released, I can get past these guys. Tichy is still running a brilliant race in P5. Him and Chris will definitely be on for a podium if they can keep those positions. Igor's falling back a little bit with those old hard tires. You see Nivi having a look on the inside of Boomer. Nothing happening for him. As further down the grid, we see O'Leary getting closer to Wicked Profit. Marco with a 3-second penalty. This will definitely be damaging to his race. Oh, Navi, once again, this DRS train. As we see Marco, DNFs. He's out. He lost it on the right-hander. On the third, what is it? In turn 13. He lost it in turn 13. Now, this does give people the chance to go on to new tires. Guys like Boomer will now be so happy that he can get another set of tires. As we see Twanich, I think he's driving really slowly. I think he's trying to create a gap in front of him to get into the pits on a double stack. He's really holding up this train. This is getting ridiculous. This might be a report to the stewards. Look how he's holding everyone up. We saw Hamilton do the same in Bahrain a few years ago, and he got a proper penalty for it. We see Twanich in any ways losing to Boomer. As they on the soft tires, Luke will have the better tires at the end of the race, but he will struggle to keep those guys at bay for the first few laps. Navi on the mediums. We see Tichy on the mediums. Tichy really getting hard done by the safety cars. I believe he was on for a podium. Chris getting helped by the safety, also being hard done by Igor, getting helped by the safety car. Mighty Chump definitely getting help. Sven will look to recover the positions that he lost after that incident into turn 1 with Will and Oswaldo getting a new set of tires, a fresh set of boots. Then Noof, O'Leary, Wicked Prophet, Wellesley, and then Heinrich rounding off the grid, running at the back, keeping his nose clean as always. Boomer will be under pressure from Twanich behind him. The Haas drivers are really working well together. Like I said in Austria, this is going to be a force to be reckoned with, the Haas pairing. I believe they can fight for the Constructors' Championship if they can keep this form up for the rest of the season. Navi will definitely be disappointed. He knows he's got the pace. He knows he can fight for a podium position. He will just have to be patient, keep up with the two guys in front, as those soft tires will go off towards the end. So, to anyone watching, who's your favourite of winning this race? Because I can't pick anymore. I don't know. I really don't know who can win it. It's up for grabs. I'd say anyone in the top 7 can definitely, 1st to 7th can definitely win this race. And hell, Mighty Chump has really had a turn of fortune this race so far. He's really showed some great pace. Thinking about it right now, the Red Bull driver has showed some consistent lap times so far in this race. Something we don't see very often from him. I think getting some good points for him will feel like a podium. Now let's quickly see who has what penalties. We see Twanich with a 3-second penalty, Igor with a 3-second penalty, Sven with a 3-second, then O'Leary, Wicked and Walsey also with 3-second penalties. This might get close towards the end. They might lose. That could spell the end of points if you can't create a gap to the guys behind you. So we see the safety car will definitely be coming in as we see everyone slow down. Luke needs to be patient. He's got a harder tire on. He's on the mediums. Boomer and Twanich on the softs. And then Navi, Twitchy, Chris and Igor also on the mediums as Luke, it does look like he went for it, but now he's slowing everyone down again, and he goes for it properly now as he's creating a gap. Boomer was caught napping a little bit, but Twanich was caught napping even more with Nivi right at the back of him. Nivi's smelling that gearbox. He wants to make that move happen as soon as possible. He wants to get that position. He wants that podium. Can he make it? No, he can't. As we see a fight towards the back as Mighty and Oswaldo with Swen, with the two Red Bull companies really fighting for that final point scoring positions from P8 all the way down to P10. Now looking at the front again as we see Boomer catching up to Luke. Can Boomer make the move within the next 2 laps? But does he want to make the move this soon? Does he want to sit in DRS for a while? Save his size, save his ERS? And it doesn't look like it. Boomer's really going for it. Can Boomer make a move either into turn 9 or 10? No, he doesn't. He's going to wait. He's going to sit behind. As we see Luke go wide. Luke goes really wide. Now it's Boomer's chance to use those soft tires. Pull away from the Haas car. As we see Igor getting past Chris. Can Igor make it stick? He does make it stick after getting onto the grass a little bit. Now Nivi at the back of the Haas cars again. He needs to make a move. He needs to get past these Haas cars. They're going to try and DRS train each other. As we see the Haas cars trying to make a switch for position. Twanich getting past Luke. Now Luke is compromised for Nivi. Nivi's going to get past Luke. As they make a little bit of contact, the Ferrari driver and the Haas driver going side by side into turn 3. And the position is Nivi's position now. Can he get back into DRS range to Twanich? Can he use all the pace that he's got to get closer to Twanich again? So we see the 2 soft tire runners at the front. Boomer can play it smart. He can maybe use his soft tires a little bit less and then just use Twanich at the back, who has a 3-second penalty, to just get that little bit further away. Keep blocking the Ferrari. As we see Nivi also get a 3-second penalty. This might be a good opportunity for Boomer with these drivers getting 3-second penalties. Boomer and the McLaren, he had a great season last season in Tier 1. This might be his opportunity to finally get another victory. He just needs to stay calm. There's a long way to go to the end. You see the Haas of Twanich going faster than anyone else with a 1 minute 20.6. And Luke is really falling behind. He's struggling with those medium tires compared to the rest. As we see Nivi just having a look. Eagle gets past Tichy. Eagle is fighting back. He is hungry after what happened in qualifying. We see the 2 Red Bull drivers going side by side into turn 4. Can they make another side by side moment into turn 5? No. Mighty is just going to sit behind a little bit. Mighty is really showing pace, keeping up with Oswaldo. They want to keep the cars behind at bay if they want to get a double points finish in this race. Now Twanich getting closer and closer to Boomer. As we see Nivi right at the back after Twanich had a poor exit out of turn 10. But Nivi just going to sit behind. He's going to save his ERS. He's just going to save his tires that little bit longer. He knows his tires will come into play around lap 27. Then he can make a move on these guys. He's going to be patient. Luke really struggling on those medium tires. He needs to look at what he can do later on. See, as we see Eagle with his 3-second penalty with Tichy right behind him. The Aston Martin had a great race, great battle in Austria. As we see yellow flags, that might have been Heinrich Smith F122 that might have had a half spin out of the final corner. Twanich getting closer as we see Nivi. They're fighting for it. As we see Wicked Prophet and Noof getting really close to each other. I think that move was done a long time ago. O'Leary now looking at the back of that Alfa Romeo. As we have to look at the front once again. Can Nivi fight for it. Can he get that second place from Twinich and then fight for first place? He needs to get past these guys to pull the 3-second gap. As we see Twinich get a 6-second penalty, or well, another 3-second penalty. He's up to 6 seconds. That's definitely his race over. I don't think he can fight for a podium. He now needs to keep Nivi at bay, try and get Luke back into the race. He needs to play the team game to get his teammate back. As we see contact between them, this gives Boomer a big opportunity to pull away. Now Boomer needs to keep those soft tires in a good operating window. He needs to pull away. He can't let Twinich keep in his DRS. They are going to fight him gloves off. They've got nothing to lose anymore. Luke still struggling. We see Chris and Sven very close to each other. Chris just sitting behind. Sven also on 6 seconds worth of penalties. This will be very damaging if Sven, after a race win in Austria, finishes P7. He's not looked happy with this car. He's been struggling the whole weekend. He's had damage. It's almost like this weekend isn't going his way. It's just not sitting right with him. So we see Chris looking at the back of the AlphaTauri driver. Chris just getting a little bit of a poor exit, and he can't catch up. Tichy now needs to look at the back of his rear wing, and he will see a fast Sven in the AlphaTauri coming towards him. But he can let him pass. He can let Sven get past, use his DRS, and just keep the guys like Chris, like Oswaldo behind him. As we see Nivi go fastest lap, as Nivi has actually passed the Haas driver. We missed that in our as we look towards Chris, and we see Nivi now looking at the back of Boomer. Boomer needs to just keep him at bay. If he can keep him at bay for 2 laps and just stay within DRS after that, then Nivi will lose his podium chance. Luke is just too far back. Twinich also too far back. He's got a 6-second penalty that will demote him into P6. Actually, that'll might drop him even further, but you see Nivi going for it on the McLaren. Now Boomer just needs to use that DRS. He needs to stay within DRS. He can't let Nivi get away. So you see Nivi just losing the rear end a little bit. Boomer can just sit behind him. Just be calm. Be patient. The race is basically yours to lose, Boomer. You see Luke just coming towards it. Twinich now catching back up in the Haas. He knows he can also get past Boomer. If he can get past Boomer, he can keep him up for Luke. Now Boomer just sitting at the back of the Ferrari driver, as we see Oswaldo now trying to make a move on Chris. Can he be patient into turn 1, make the move into turn 3, as we see the loose rear end of that Red Bull? He needs to see where he can make a move. He needs to size up Chris, see where his weak points are, but it doesn't look like Chris has any. Chris has been very consistent throughout the race. This is the fight for P6. As we see Chris going for it on Sven. Sven can't fight it back. Sven will lose the position. Is he going to lose the position to Oswaldo as well? As Oswaldo also has DRS. As Sven is fighting it back against Alpine, but he just can't fight it back completely. And now Sven has to look behind him. As we see Oswaldo making a mistake. Now that will invite his teammate back into the party. As Marty is going to look at the back of Oswaldo. Oswaldo's got a big task ahead of him to get back into the DRS range of Sven. Now Chris can try and catch Tichy. These two will be fighting, as we see a mistake from Chris as he does get front wing damage. As we see him losing the end plate, and that will promote Mighty Champ and O'Leary Now O'Leary needs to keep it away from Wicked Prophet, as we see Wicked Prophet also making gains on the Mercedes driver. O'Leary also struggling this race. As we see all the viewers, 8 viewers, welcome everyone. If you're just joining, this is a tight race for the win. As we saw Boomer get past Nivi again, I didn't see the move, but now Nivi is going to look to get back past Boomer. Boomer has got the best opportunity to win this race. He just needs to keep it within the RS of Nivi. He can let him pass. Nivi can try and run away. Nivi needs to run away. He needs to create a 3-second gap if he wants any chance of trying to win this race. Now looking back at Tichy on the back of Igor. Igor's got a 6-second penalty that will demote him all the way behind the Red Bulls. As we saw, this is going to be a difficult task for some of these drivers to try and create those gaps with the penalties. See Tichy going for a move into turn 1. A very late move from Tichy as him and Igor make a little bit of contact out of turn 1. Now DRS again. He's going to go for it into turn 3. He's got the inside line. He can dictate the line. He's far enough ahead. As we see Igor trying to make the switchback move, he just can't make it stick. As we see Nivi trying to get back past Boomer, as Boomer got back past him. Another 5-second penalty for Chris, speeding into the pit lane. His evening can't get worse than this. Now Nivi, he knows his ERS is done. You can see that red light flashing on the Ferrari. As we see him lose the rear end a little bit, but he's still got the pace to try and get past the McLaren. So you see Twanich just biding his time as well. Twanich can also make a move. This is a battle for the lead. However, it doesn't matter. If they can't pull a 3 or 6 second gap, they can't take the race victory. But it will also be a good thing if you can just grab that victory on track. Luke is really falling behind. I wonder if the game might have given him old medium tires, or maybe his tires are overheating a little bit. We see Nivi getting close to Boomer once again. Now turn 4, as we see Smith getting another 3-second penalty. Now Leary losing the position to Wicked Prophet. Wicked Prophet was P11 last race. Can he try and get points this race? He's really close to it. Can he just hold on for the next 2 laps? As this is the last lap battle for the lead. It doesn't matter if Boomer can just keep it on the track. And within 3 seconds, as we see O'Leary getting another 3-second penalty, and Boomer just being patient, letting Nivi pass, and now he just needs to keep within that 3 seconds. It's been a good race so far. Vantage looking at the McLaren driver. The McLaren doesn't have any ERS left. Nivi knows it's over. Unless Boomer makes a mistake in the final 2 corners, it will be an on-track victory for Nivi. But even though it's an on-track victory for Nivi, it's a victory for Boomer. All the way from Tier 1, coming to Tier 3. And he takes a win in the second race of the season. Then we've got Luke getting promoted all the way up into P3, taking the podium. Twanich, Tichy in 5th. 6 is Oswaldo, Mighty Chump, as a double points for Red Bull. 8th for Igor after finishing the same position he started in. Then Sven, a lackluster Australian Grand Prix, a very bad Grand Prix for him after a win in Austria. He might want to bounce back after that. As we see Nuf take 10th place. Nuf getting that crucial points, helping Alfa Romeo get the points ticking. Wicked Prophet losing out on points once again in 11th position. O'Leary in 12th. Heinrich in 13th, as always, as he did for the majority of last season and last race. What a race. It did settle down a little bit, but Some great wheel-to-wheel action. Let's run through the grid one more time as we see the podium celebrations with the McLaren. What a race from Boomer. What a race. The McLaren in first place, taking his first victory of the season. Then Nivi in the Ferrari. And rounding off the podium is Luke in the Haas, falling back a little bit in the race, but ultimately got that podium position. Then we see Twanich, Boom, Oswaldo, a double points for Red Bull with Mighty Chump finally getting into the points. What a race from him. Great pace. I've really a lot of respect shown for Mighty. Igor in eighth. Sven after a bad race. He might want to bounce back after a good race in Austria. Bad race this weekend. Noof in 10th, rounding off the points. Then we've got Wicked Prophet, O'Leary, Heinrich, Welsi, and Chris. Your final uh, uh, final position in the race. He didn't retire, at least keeping going just to get some data on the car, maybe. Marco, Will, ALR, Mike, Abmo, and Arctic are your DNFs for this race. Mike will be very much disappointed. I'm very much disappointed. Mike had such a great start to the race. I'm expecting more. I'm really expecting more. Well, that's the end of the Australian Grand Prix. Thank you for joining us, and then we'll see you again next time around at Monza. Have a great evening. Cheers.